The title of my project is Food Insecurity because the main purpose of my maps is to show the prevalence of food insecurity in both California and specifically on a local level in Los Angeles. In order to complement my maps, I included first the definitions of food insecurity, which means that people are required to reduce their food intake and experience hunger, as well as included some examples of initiatives that are occurring in Los Angeles to promote more sustainable food systems. Many of the maps I have seen have included point layers that show the more negative consequences of food insecurity. So with my maps, I intended to take a slightly different path and include point layers that show where there are positive developments occurring, such as these farmers markets, which are represented by the gold dots, and the markets accepting SNAP, which are represented by the turquoise dots. And also in California, the point layer represents where local health initiatives have been developed. Also, to make this more clear and less messy, I included a marker cluster function, which when you zoom in, the markers start to spread out, and you can eventually click on individual ones to see what the initiative is. Again, I included this function so that it would be a bit cleaner and it was very obvious where there are a large amount of initiatives occurring, such as in Southern California, where you can see there are 156 just in this cluster. And as you zoom in to Los Angeles, you see that the food insecurity rate is rather high because it is about 20 in Los Angeles County, which, according to the legend, is in the higher range across the state. So then if you scroll down and compare this with the income overlay, you can see that this area of low income, where it's lighter green, correlates with this area of deep red. And this shows that areas of low-income communities may have less access to farmers markets or places where there is food that supports a healthy and active life. I also included a video of a man named Ron Finley who actually lives in South Central, this area of Los Angeles, right here if we zoom in. And he has started a movement called the LA Green Grounds, which promotes making gardens all around Los Angeles, where there's pieces of land that aren't being used, because in South Central, he mentions having to drive at least 15 miles to get to the nearest grocery market. So he created a garden in his own backyard, and now promotes using a shovel as your weapon instead of something else, and trying to make it the new trend. So I created choropleth maps for both because my data is well suited, my order data is well suited for highlighting both the extremes of high and low rates. So for the California map, it's very clear where the high rate is, and it's very clear where the low rates are. And similarly in Los Angeles, it's very clear where the income is higher, because I wanted to focus not necessarily on the middle values, but on the values at each end of the spectrum. I also included a toggle layer. You don't want certain layers on, or if you want to compare just one to make this more meaningful, I included also the number of food insecure families that occur in each district in California, so that the number means a bit more to the to the person who's looking at the map. My knowledge of coding was definitely increased by having to fix bugs like removing the layer bring to front part so that the points didn't disappear, and also by having to create the marker cluster with the GeoJSON file. In summary, I hope it's clear that the lack of food security is a concern for many Californians, and also that there's definitely room for improvement for more placement of markers in low-income areas as well as high-income areas in Los Angeles and cities like it. And thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoy my project.